What's up, YouTube? I haven't made a video in a bit again. I kind of just make videos and I kind of disappear. I have a video of a new product or a new gun. I recently just got this. I traded it off for something, but you probably already read the title, so let's get to it. And you can already see it here. This is the Maruzen Wather P38. It's licensed by Umarex USA, but it is a Japanese gun. It's quite a nice box. I like the design. It's simple yet nice. Anyways, let's get to it. So the box is pretty basic. There's really nothing on it. Just got that standard warning stuff on the back right there. If you really want to read it, there's other languages there too. I'm not a toy, all that stuff. Since this is licensed by Umarex, you get all the right trades. So let's start here. So first thing you get inside the box is your instruction manual. It's standard stuff. It's small in the English part. This is basically it right here. Just tells you how to operate the gun. No takedown guide, which is a major issue that I found with this gun, because I've had issues with it, and I'll get into that later. But there's not much to it. To get to the hop up, you need to adjust it with an Allen wrench. It's pretty retarded though, but it is what it is. So you get the manual, and then you get the gun itself. Now it is sort of used. It might not look the best, but it is pretty decently new. It hasn't been used too much by the previous owner. It was used because I can't find any of these anywhere. And he also included a second magazine. But let's put the box to the side here and get to the review. So first things first on this gun. The build quality on the metal is quite nice, but the plastic is a little. But you get the basic features of, it's kind of like, it kind of resembles an M9, because the M9 part, I would assume, took parts of this gun and used it on their design, because it looks very similar to an M9, a Beretta sort pistol. But you have a hammer. It's single and double action, and you also have a decocker, so it does not fire off a round. There's gas in the magazine right now. You also have a cocking indicator in the back, or you also have a round indicator right there. When you pull the slide back, it just disappears. It's just to indicate on the real gun that there's a round in the chamber, but I mean, it doesn't do anything for airsoft. It's just nice that they put that there. You have your slide release right here. You have your takedown lever right there. Magazine release is down here, European style heel magazine release. You have your sling mount right here. And that's about it. It's a pretty basic gun. You have your iron sights, of course. So yeah, so as you can see, I'll zoom in a bit. I'll get the gun closer. You can see it has the full Walther trademarks, Walther P99, P38, sorry. You get a serial number. I don't know if that's unique or not, but you'll have this disgusting warning stuff on the side. It makes the gun look really bad, but every Umarex gun has it. Right here it says 6mm BB, made in Japan. I don't know what the F is supposed to mean. It also has another serial number right here. But so yeah, the slide is a little darker than the frame. The frame is kind of fooling. It looks a little bit like metal, but the extractor is a separate piece, and that is metal, which I don't know why. The sights are metal too. This is dovetailed into the front, so it's kind of loose sometimes. It can fly out. Especially if you're using higher powered gases. Now I'm going to check the mag real quick. To take this gun down, you have to pull the slide back at least to here. You have to make sure that the free floating barrel is all the way back, and then you can push this forward, and the slide just comes off. Like that simple. Don't try to throw the slide off, because you have two recoil spring guides right here, and they'll fly out. So this is what you kind of have for a design in here. This is where the decocker hits right here. Just decocks it for you. There's nothing really crazy special about this. It's pretty simple. Nothing really to look down here. See down here, right here. Here's the slide. You have the locking block. I think that's what it's called. I'm honestly not sure about what this is, but it doesn't come out if this is down. It only comes out if it's facing this way. So when this is up like that, when it's in the gun, it doesn't come out at all. So it's the barrel lock, I guess. You have your loading nozzle right here, and then you have your safety right here. You have a few screws in here holding. This is reinforced all by metal. These are all metal rails in here. And the slide is plastic, but Yeah, the outer barrel is a plastic, but it's a good plastic. It's not bad. All the plastic, it's decent quality plastic. I wouldn't say it's like anything to write home about, but it's pretty good. And since it's Japanese, you have tight tolerances. But the metal is very good casting and all that stuff. But let's put the slide back on. So to get the slide back on, you should be a little careful, because if you put this on too quick, the spring guide will come out. Sometimes the decocker sear gets in the way. Just push it down a little bit. This is another thing. You also have to remember to push down the barrel lock as well, or it won't go in. And then that's what there you have it. This isn't locking on any plastic, it's locking on the rails, and the recoil springs are pretty weak, so hitting the sled release doesn't hurt it too much. You have a fake firing pin in there, and it actually moves. This whole thing moves in. But when the safety is down, you can't actually cock the hammer or anything. And how the decocker works is the firing pin, it locks the firing pin in place so it can't hit the valve knocker. That's just how it works. Pretty simple design. So yeah, the grips are plastic. You probably already guessed that, but it looks really nice. But it feels just like plastic. It feels like a normal plastic grip. Yeah, that's about it on the external details. Let's take a look at the magazine. So on the magazine here, you have P38 on the mag right there. The bullet hole counters right there. You have the spring guide right here. The feed lips are metal, which are good and bad, but I'll get to that as well. The valve right there. You have the flow valve right there. You have the gas route. You have the fill valve. This thing sprays gas out like every Japanese gun. There's no seal in the fill valve, so it will spray out. You can change the valve if you want to, though. But anyways, so on to the reliability of the gun. So seeing that I bought this gun second-handed, and the original owner only ran duster gas through this, I can say that running it on propane will, it won't say, it won't say it caused some issue. It will cause issues, but if you just want to run this on duster gas, that's fine. But the issue is the duster gas that we have is less pressurized. I can't remember, because we need tetrafluoroethane that has a bit more pressure, and we use bifluoroethane. I think it's slightly less pressurized, and it doesn't, like, you probably can't even get a whole mag out with that duster gas. And yeah, because you need tetrafluoroethane, and it's hard to find those, especially in North America. You see the fluoroethane ones. So we're kind of stuck with propane or green gas. We don't have top gas. I haven't seen a place that has like any or Abbey Ultra stuff that's lower in pressure, PSI. I guess you could always HPA tap these and set it to the pressure you want. But so I ran into a few issues. Now sometimes when I was decocking the gun, I don't know if this was just a gun thing, because I had this the second I took it out of the box. When you would decock it, right there, as you can see, when I push the safety / decocker back up, the trigger comes back forward. An issue that I had before was it would stay back, and then I would have to either knock the gun or pull the trigger forward. And the reason why that was happening is because the decocker sear right here was actually it was coming as this little piece right there. Right there on the side here, it was protruding too far out, so then it would get caught in the side here. So then as you would decock it, this is what happens when you decock the gun. It would get stuck in here, and the trigger won't be able to go forward until this comes up. But since it's getting stuck down there, the trigger won't come forward without a nudge. So I had to shave down the side there a little bit. Another issue I had with this gun is as I was firing it, inside here, I don't know if that's normal or not, but this gold piston right here, it came out and it was moving freely in the nozzle. Now the gas system in this is different, because how it regulates gas is it regulates the gas inside the magazine. In here, instead of having a rocket valve inside the nozzle's empty. But I don't know if that's normal. I don't think it was, because I was getting some inconsistent shots. So I pressure fitted this in the piston in there a bit better. And now if I never need to take it out, I can, but it's just kind of in position and it doesn't move. The nozzle doesn't spring back and forth. There is no spring in there. I've been inside this gun. I don't know if that's normal or not. I would assume it is, because when the nozzle's back, this stays out, and when it's not, then. But sometimes it has some feeding issues as well. But yeah, I need to get some more BBs and test the feeding in this gun. But from what I'm seeing, as I pull the slide back, BBs will fly out of the magazine a bit. But that's like one or two of them. That's probably fixable. I just have to figure that out. Either that or it's the BBs I'm using, because sometimes BBs are not the right dimensions if they're low quality. Sometimes depends. I bought Evite BBs and those things never worked in their bios. But so let's get the gun back together. I would have another issue I would have was the hammer would not stay cocked as I was firing it. Sometimes when I would fire it, it would, what would happen is it would, as I'm firing, I would be firing it normally, and then suddenly as the slide comes forward, the hammer would also come forward along with it, and that's not normal. Definitely, I think I'm pretty sure I fixed that issue. As you can see, it fires good and the hammer stays back, which was why I was confused. Here, I'll show you another round. As you can see there, it works good. The issues I'll show you right here actually. I don't know if this is a widespread issue. I'm not hearing anything, but I also don't really hear much about this gun in general, so that's probably why. But from what I'm seeing, that I had this issue. So right in here, as you're taking these out, here, gonna take some fiddling with. Bear with me here. Okay, there we go. So in here, I found the major issue is as you're shooting it, this spring right here, I actually modified it. So if you actually take this apart, this will not look like this. If you have this issue, then I guess you could try doing what I did, and this fixed my issue. The issue is on propane, as you're shooting it, these springs were too loose to keep the hammer seat down, because how this works is there's a little hook in there, and when the trigger comes up, it locks up like that. I don't know if you can see that right there. It locks into that little ridge right there. You can see that right there, that little ridge. I'm moving it right now. You can see there's a little hump in there. It goes and then it locks in like that. And the issue is as you're shooting it and it came back and the trigger bar would reset, what would happen is, because as the trigger bar resets, here, let me do this real quick. So this is how the trigger bar resets. So there you go. The trigger bar resets like that. So as you can see, trigger bar resets. It's down. As long as it's down like that, it's reset. And then basically what will happen is that the slide is coming back. When the slide would come back, this would kind of rock up a bit, and then it would release the hammer as the slide comes forward. So as you can see that, as the slide would come forward, because this gun kicks so hard, see it didn't cock there. But as you see here, sometimes it would kick so hard that it would rock this up a little bit and release the hammer, and that's not supposed to happen. Obviously, it won't happen on duster gas if you just use it on tetrafluorethane, or if you can find HFC or duster gas somewhere. But what I did was this needs more tension, so I had to bend the springs a bit to force more tension on it. I bent it here as well to get more tension, but the issue is it puts more force in the slide lock. So with the original springs inside the magazine, it won't lock the slide back, but there's a fix for that as well. So yeah, that fixed my issue right there. I would leave this spring because this spring seems to mess with the reset sometimes it won't reset, but I think it was just this part mostly. But I just left this spring the same as it was. I did fiddle with it a bit, but I ended up reverting it back to normal, and the gun works great now. It was this spring mainly because like I said, as the hammer comes down, when the gun smacks forward, the spring's a little loose, a little weak, so then that kind of just kicks up and then releases. But now that there's a lot of pressure there's a lot of resistance, it keeps that seared nice and tight down on the hammer. So yeah, and what I do is I just got a TM18C piston to go in there to hold down the spring like that. Kind of just it fits in there nicely, and then I put the grips back on like that. You can see that, and I just put the grips back on. I find that this works the best because this one I think it dried out a bit because it doesn't really fit in my 18C anymore, so I just used it for that. But as you can see, the gun's quite a heavy gun because it has weights in there. This is a decent amount. It's only screwed in by one screw. I don't know if the original owner had two, but it doesn't really matter. It's not like it's gonna fall out when it's in the gun anyways. So installing the grips are pretty straightforward. I don't think I need to show that. One thing is, when I was trying to install the grips again, you have to pull down the hammer like this for it to actually clip together, because that's just how it requires the weights to work. If you remove the weights, the gun won't work right. But so yeah, so make sure, because it actually has to pull the hammer spring down a little bit more right here, and the weights do that for you. It needs to go down a little farther, because double action won't work unless that happens. So just make sure that when you're putting the gun back together, just make sure that the weights are in there. You find an alternative to keep that down. But yeah, other than that, this gun has a nice kick for a Japanese gun that's made out of plastic. I would definitely say it's quite impressive. This thing kicks almost as much as my 1911, my TM 1911. Not sure. Can't honestly remember the last time I uploaded a video. I can't remember if I uploaded my 1911 video, but that thing kicked hard. That thing kicks really hard, and it works great still. I've had no issues with that, which is nice. But yeah, this is more of a wall hanger piece than a game piece. You could probably game this if you do the mods I did. If you have issues with the gun, if you don't, leave the gun as is and just use it. If you start having issues and the gun will stay cocked, then I guess try that. But for what I see, it's works great. It kicks hard. It's loud. It's a really loud gun. But yeah, there's really not much complaints other than that. I ended up spending a lot of gas trying to fix this, but now that I figured it out, it's not a big deal. You don't really need to get the grips too tight, but one thing I wouldn't trust is this. The hardware is plastic, so this hanging off the sides, it's a pretty heavy gun. I probably wouldn't trust the hardware. If you wanna try mounting a sling on this, I would try somewhere else. There's really nowhere to mount something, so just get a holster, I guess. But yeah, this gun, this Walther P38, because the Mauser makes this gun too. This gun was designed and made in 1938. Saw the use in World War II in the Portuguese colonial war. It's quite an iconic gun, not as iconic as the 1911 definitely, but because the 1911 was used in many wars. But lots of countries still use this gun today. Mauser also makes this gun as well. They make a variant for themselves, just like the 1911's made by many companies such as Kimber and Nighthawk Custom. I'm pretty sure they make some custom 1911s, but yeah, the main company that makes this is Walther. But yeah, this gun the slide is it flexes a bit in the back, but I wouldn't worry about too much because you have the metal reinforcement. Another issue I had is the rail ended up coming loose. So what I had to do was I had to glue I just epoxied the rail in, because one of the screw posts in here, they held the rails in stripped. So as shooting it on propane, that just tends to happen, and I expect the other side to do that. It's not a big deal. You don't need the rails to take out the BBU. But another thing is I could not find a way to get the BBU out when the safety is in there. I couldn't find a way to get the safety out because it seems like it's screwed in. I'll just show you here. Right back. Let's see if I can show you in there. Right back in there, you'll see that when I turn this, that moves with it. And I have no clue how to get that little piece out right there, so I don't know how to get the rest of the BBU out. But I was enough to get this nozzle out and get the piston back in there. But the screw posts I was talking about here. There's two up here as well. Yeah, they don't work great. So, but yeah, other than that though, the gun is pretty decent. If you choose to just keep it on duster, which I would recommend definitely, then I mean yeah, but this gun will cover. I want to put this gun to its because with duster gas, like, yeah, it's made for duster gas, but really it really shines when you use either propane or green gas, a higher pressurized gas. I wouldn't use anything like Garter, Power Up, or MAP gas or anything. You can actually use MAP gas in airsoft guns, but it just cracks plastic, slides right away. But yeah, other than that, the gun's pretty decent here. Let's give you a clear look at the slate pictures, even line this up for you. There we go. They're pretty crude sights. They're hard to use, as they're quite a bit easier to use than the 1911 sights. That's for sure. The pistol is a very slim pistol. If you haven't noticed, it's almost as slim as the 1911. It has a single stack 9mm magazine. which is really small. But it's a really comfortable pistol to hold. I really like holding this thing. Sometimes if you're racking the slide like this, sometimes you can accidentally knock this down by accident, which isn't a big thing either. But like I don't know. I'm not too big of a fan of slide mounted safeties, but that's not that's not Maruzen's fault. That's just how the gun was made. But it doesn't really get if you're racking your guns like this. But I personally rack my guns like this. But sometimes as you're pulling it back, that just kind of decocks at the same time. If you don't, I mean, there's really no difference of having it cocked or decocked. Another thing is if you're trying to use it on propane, sometimes double action actually won't fire it. Like, it'll be a little weak because the spring. Because when you do double action, it doesn't pull all the way down. It just goes about there, and then it releases. Where when you cock it, it goes all the way down. If you're using duster gas, again, you won't have these issues. Like, it works with these because the mags are half empty now. But yeah, so this is probably going to be one of my World War II collector's pieces. Probably going to run some updates on old guns that I haven't really posted about, because, you know, reviews are reviews and see how long they've lasted. But get ready to watch a video of my TM 1911. I'm probably going to make a video on that and finish up about that. But anyways, yeah, so thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. You can probably find this gun. You can find this gun in the States for about, I think, 170. You can't find these anywhere in Canada, though. I found some places, but they're either out of stock or they just don't have them anymore. But Maruzen is just a rare company, and Japanese guns are sort of hard to get in general in Canada unless you're TM high kappas. But yeah, so that's the most on this gun. I went over everything. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, rate, subscribe. Thanks for watching.